So after the measurement and when we apply for the bill or the payment, so during these payment settlements, there are chances for uh, disputes. Okay, so in this concern chapter, we are going to learn the construction disputes and how we can settle those disputes. Okay, so disputes implies assertion of a claim by one party and repudiation thereof by another. So a dispute arises when one party raises a claim and another party refuses the claim. Okay? So thus, neither a mere claim without repudiation nor a pair of claim and counterclaim can be called a dispute. So now you understand what is meant by dispute. Just fight. Dispute means just a fight between two parties. Okay. So type of disputes happen in construction field are due to the claim. Okay. So the claim, the demand for something considering one's due. Okay. So the claim of contractor against owner or client. The claim of owner or client against the contractor, and we know that these two are the people involved in the contracts, but one more claim can happen, that is subcontractor claim. We can see what are all the causes for these disputes happen in construction field. The first one is error in contract and tender documents. Most probably these tender documents and contractors were prepared very hassle, and errors may occur due to incomplete information in the tender document. So due to that incomplete in information, this may happen. Contradiction in provision of general condition, special conditions, and drawings. Incomplete specifications. All those things are very much important. So because of experience, people do those things very correctly. If your experience is very poor, then these errors may occur. Okay. Then incorrect ground data. It includes information about ground condition, depth of ground, water table, rainfall, and temperature data, availability of water, etc. I still remember one of my friend get a job, get a contractor sign in village panchayat to go for uh, digging borehole. Uh, you know, so they allotted the quote and they sanctioned the work. But what has happened? What has happened is in two sites when they going for this borewell digging, uh, they found rock in between. So if there is a rock, if you want to dig a borehole in the rock location, the expense is a little bit more. So those things are not mentioned there. So that is what is known as incorrect ground data. So any difference between ground reality during execution and conditions provided in the contract could easily be the reason for disputes. The third one is use of faulty and ambiguous provisions of language in contracts. The language of the contract should be clear. It must be defined very clearly and such that it is not open to different interpretations. Then deviation. The contract should be defined that there are few extra items or deviation as possible. In other words, the scope of work in any contract should be properly defined. Unreasonable attitudes. To prevent an environment of mutual trust, both client and contractor need to have professional approach to the project, including areas where there could be disagreement on interpretation. Yeah, so this is uh, based upon the attitudes of both the people. If anyone is not good, then sure disputes will come. Sixth one is contractor being a poor standards. It is important that the contractor identified to do a job possesses the required human, financial and technical resources. In the absence of any of these, it is very likely that the contractor will look for an escape route for leaving the product and may try to force a termination of the contract. Seventh one is unfair distribution of risk. This could be a major reason for not really avoidable litigation but also increase in the cost of the project. Mechanism of dispute resolution. First part is negotiation. We can negotiate very easily if both the parties are ready to accept. Okay? The discussion on disputes among engineers from all interested parties with intention of resolving the difference without involvement of third parties. It is an informal process without any legal sense. Does not involve any additional expenses. Discussions are held between parties across the table in a cordial and peaceful atmosphere. So this is one of the best solution. If they get into a conclusion in the negotiation, you can save a lot of time and money also. Second one is mediation and conciliation. It is also known as informal process, assisted by one or more neutral third parties for settlement of the disputes. Mediators try to advise and consult impartially with the parties. Voluntary in sense that parties participate of their own free will and a neutral third party simply assists them in reaching a settlement. It is private, confidential and conducted without prejudice to any legal proceedings. So the stages and mediation process are: in the pre-mediation stage, there has to be a basic agreement among parties about disputes to be settled, including identification of a mediator. Mediation could be direct or indirect and could involve meeting with parties, presentations being made by them, putting together facts, negotiation and settlement. A mediator may also like to be involved in the process in compliance with the settlement reached. So advantages of mediation is it is very less time consuming, it involves very lesser cost, outcomes could be more satisfying to the parties, minimizing future disputes, it opens channels of communication and could contribute greatly towards preserving a professional relationship, empower the parties and give them confidence to their ability to handle disputes. The above two methods are really very good, and those things are not based upon legal proceedings, and less time and less cost is involved for those things. Why? Because why we are trying to settle these disputes by some other way are, if you go and file a case in the court, what will happen? The entire work has to be stopped till the final judgment. It will take a lot of years. So both the parties will get affected. So to overcome those things, we are trying these things. The next thing is that arbitration. This is purely based upon legal protocol. Okay. So these arbitration is preferred in our construction industry most of the time. Okay, so arbitration, who basically act as judge, must understand legal procedure. So it was there in the act in 1996, that is Arbitration and Conciliation Act. I already uploaded the PDF document, kindly go through it. Okay, you can have single arbitrator or multiple arbitrator based upon your situation. If one arbitrator each is selected by a contractor and owner, the third one is selected by two arbitrator. Limited opportunities for either side to appeal after the arbitral decision. Advantages of arbitration. It is faster than litigation in court. It is cheaper and more flexible. Arbitral proceedings and awards can be made confidential. Different languages can be chosen for arbitration, but for legal proceedings, official languages chosen. Arbitral awards are easier to enforce than court verdicts. Limits and durations of disputes and associated liabilities. So what will happen if two parties client and contractors putting fight together on what these arbitrators do is very simple, and they will give a simple solution to continue the work. Disadvantages of arbitration. If arbitration is binding, both sides give up their rights to an appeal. That means there is no real opportunity to correct what one party may feel is a wrong arbitration decision. If the matter is complicated but the amount of money involved in modest, then the arbitrator fee may make arbitration uneconomical. It may be cheaper to try the case before a judge in court. An arbitrator decision may be based on information that a judge or jury would not consider at trial. Evidence that are not valid at court may be considered during arbitration. In certain information from the witnesses presented by documents, then there is no opportunity to cross-examine the testimony of that witness. Discovery may be more limited with arbitration. In litigation, discovery is the process of requiring the opposing party to provide certain information or documents. If arbitration is mandatory or required by a contract, then the parties do not have a flexibility to choose arbitration only when both parties agree. Mandatory arbitration allows one party to force the other party to use arbitration. In case of multiple arbitrators, scheduling the arbitration is very difficult. The standards used by an arbitrator are not clear, although generally the arbitrator is required to follow the law, that is based upon the Act 1996, Arbitration and Conciliation. However, sometimes arbitrators may choose not to strictly follow the law, which would result in the less favorable outcome for a party who is favored by a strict reading of the law. Finally, arbitral awards. An arbitration award or arbitral award is a determination on the merits by an arbitration tribunal in an arbitration. It is an analogous to a judgment in a court of law. It refers to a decision made by an arbitration tribunal in an arbitration proceeding. It may include payment of a sum of money, making of a declaration by any party, ordering a party to do or refrain from doing something, issuing an order for specific performance of a contract or item in a contract, issuing an order for rectification, setting aside or cancellation of a deal or document. So once this award is awarded, it's a final judgment. Okay.